Good afternoon, HMS Bobcats. Welcome back to another week at the Helena Middle School. On this week's Bob lesson, going to talk about holistic well-being, holistic mental, emotional well-being. This Bob lesson was kind of inspired from a few years ago going through the pandemic where I think everybody's mental health was really put to the test. And during that time, kind of had an epiphany of some of the things that we do that maybe or we don't do that contribute to poor mental health or that contribute to mental well-being. A lot of little things that add up that maybe your health teachers talk about, maybe we talk about in PE, that sometimes I think go a little bit overlooked. Middle school is an incredibly difficult time in terms of development. Sixth graders come in as really children, and then they leave as eighth graders as like full-blown teenagers, some acting like young adults. And there's so many changes with puberty, with friendships, with getting to know who you are, getting to know who other people are, coming to terms with starting to answer that question, who am I? So many things that go into it. I've also recognized this in my own life. Some of the things that I'm going to talk about today in terms of holistic well-being. Holistic means whole. And if we look at our whole well-being, that's mental health, that's spiritual health, that's physical health, that's social health, that's family health. But more importantly today, going to talk about things like limiting this. Going to talk about just simple things like making sure you're getting enough water during the day, taking a look at your diet and the food you put in to your body. I noticed a while ago that when I eat healthier, I feel healthier. Getting your heart rate up consistently, getting enough sleep, using your resources around you, things of that nature. And how I've observed over the year, if you're really mindful at doing these things, you tend to feel better and you tend to mentally, emotionally, physically feel better as well. So I hope this is something everybody can get something out of. Whether you're in middle school, whether you're an adult, I tell students all the time, being an adult is hard. I have many demands, pressures, fears, insecurity, doubts as an adult in my world. And again, I've noticed that as I've done these things, it's really helped. So I hope this helps you as well.
All right, we're off and running on this week's Bob lesson, holistic mental well-being. But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. All right, as I talked about in the intro, I've become a firm believer that mental, emotional well-being is kind of a conglomerate of different parts of our life. And right here, I've got 9 different things that I'm going to go through. Exercise, activity, faith, sleep, resources, utilizing resources. That would be self-care, relationships, limiting phone time, academic, investment, diet, and there may be more that I'm forgetting. All right, the first one is sleep, and I'm blown away sometimes when I'm talking to some of you students to hear some of your sleeping patterns, i.e. how late you guys go to sleep, staying up till 11, 12, 1 in the morning on a weeknight. It is absolutely crazy to me. Scientists say and medical doctors say that kids your age should be getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. That means if you're waking up at 6:30 in the morning, the latest you should be going to sleep, and that means falling asleep, is 10:30. The earlier end of that would be 8:30. I know myself, I am so busy. I'm in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, hopefully falling asleep by 9:30 at the latest. So many of you wake up and you're not ready to rock and roll, and sleep deprivation can really wreak havoc on your mental and emotional well-being. It puts you at higher risk for anxiety, less able to be focused in school, and there's a bunch of health repercussions that come with it. So one thing to check is, are you getting enough sleep? Furthermore, when you are going to sleep, are you putting your tablet down an hour before you're trying to get to sleep? So many times when you're on that thing and your brain is activated and it's going back and forth, and it's stimulated, and then we put the phone down, we try to go to sleep. It takes our brain and our body a while to adjust from the stimulation to be able to get into sleep mode. Next area is diet, and thinking about not only are we drinking enough water every day, so that we don't become dehydrated, but are we eating good foods? Anything that's got color to it, greens, vegetables, fruits, those things are all high in nutrients that have direct correlation with emotional and mental well-being. When we are eating processed foods, when we are eating too much sugars, that has a direct result on our brain and the chemicals that we are putting in our body. If you check out my lunch plate, I love going through the salad bar every day, getting some salad, getting some greens, getting some vegetables, getting some fruits, getting my milk. You see me walking around school with my water bottle. That's for a very real reason. When I'm not taking care of my diet, not taking care of my hydration, it literally affects my mental outlook and how I feel day-to-day basis. Exercise and activity. This is something that the average teenager probably does not get enough of. Our wonderful PE teachers and our wonderful health teachers stress this, I know, all the time, but getting out every day and getting your heart rate up, even if it's not even doing exercise, even if it's putting the phone down, which I'll address in another slide, putting the phone down and getting away from that and getting out in nature, getting some fresh air, getting out and being active is so very important. When you exercise, some of the same dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, some of those same feel-good chemicals that are released when you do drugs or you vape or you consume alcohol, those things that are quick fixes for brain chemistry, some of those same chemicals are released during exercise and activity. So that's a very natural and healthy way to stimulate and be your best mentally and emotionally. I know this one is a huge one for kids your age, but checking your relationships. Are your friendships in a good spot? For those of you that are doing the romantic thing, is your romantic relationship in a good spot? Even though it's very difficult to have your romantic relationship in a good spot at this age. How is your relationships with your family members? When those relationships aren't healthy and we're not putting in work on those, and those are falling apart, your mental health is going to fall apart with it. We are social creatures as human beings, as middle school students, as adults. We need those healthy relationships. So putting in work in your relationships so those are in a good place are going to have a direct correlation on your mental and emotional well-being. These next two I have in the order I do for a very real reason. And the next one's academic investment. Academics should be the core of what we're working on right now as 13 and 14-year-olds moving into high school when we're 15-year-olds. Taking care of business. When you're an adult, this looks like taking care of business at your job. If you're academically investing in your future, that is going to add to your mental well-being because you're giving yourself hope, you're giving yourself a plan, you're giving yourself purpose as to what is it that I am doing here on earth. What is my greater goal? What is my greater purpose? If you're working every day and you're taking care of business academically, and that should lend to feeling good about the investment and the future that you are setting up for yourself. Once you have put in that academic investment and we have done all these other things, are we taking time every day for self-care? If you'll recall, self-care is anything that you enjoy doing that is kind of your recharge. This could be walking your dog. This could be exercising. This could be spending time with friends. This could be spending time to read a book. This could be spending time to go for a hike. This is anything that is your thing that you enjoy doing that you're going to carve out a little bit of time every day for you. It's kind of like if we were eating a dinner and we had a full course meal, self-care is kind of like the dessert on top or the dessert after you have eaten all your food. Next one should come as no surprise. It's probably not going to be a popular one either, but it is putting those phones down, limiting phone time. The research just continues to point to the same thing, that these phones are making human beings, especially teenagers, unhappy. I've done multiple Bob lessons on cell phones and screen time and what that is doing to young people in their mental health. Having the discipline to put that thing down and not be on it all the time. It is such a false a sense of well-being or happiness. We are becoming addicted to these things. We are becoming addicted to being on them, and the brain chemistry that comes with that, the dopamine that comes with that. But that is very, very, very unhealthy enmeshment that many of us have with these phones. So being able to limit the phone time, specifically at night, putting that thing down, putting that thing in the other room when it's time to go to sleep, so that we can focus on winding down and getting that 8 to 10 hours of sleep that many of us, all of us, really need. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with this one because this one varies from person to person, but if you are somebody of faith and your faith is important, making time, whether it be every day or every week, to spend time devoting to your faith. Last but not least is resources and utilizing resources. The main one that comes to mind when I think about mental and emotional well-being is taking time to talk to a trusted somebody if you have things going on in life. Taking time to talk with either your friends or your parents or trusted adults about things going on in life. Life is going to throw you curveballs. Life is like being at the ocean and having the waves come. They come. Some waves are bigger than others, some are more spaced out than others, but waves are going to come and hit you in life. When waves come and hit you and threaten your mental and emotional well-being, are you going to utilize those resources around you to invest in your own mental and emotional well-being? So once again, I went through 9 different domains of mental, emotional well-being. I've got them up here, and for some of you, some may be more important than others, but once again, I want you to think about mental and emotional well-being as being a holistic thing, meaning it's made up of many different components. And I encourage you to do a quick checklist as to, are you taking care of business in all of these areas that I talked about today? So many times life is about balance. Life is about finding balance and finding balance in things that are important.
All right, that brings us to this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week winners. We got Kellen Smith, Sean McClellan, Justin Trainer, Jack Peterson, Ashton Jellison, and the answer to last week's Jelly Bean Question Week was the post office. What has like thousands of letters, but is 2 words or 1 word, I think was the question, something along that line. All right, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week. What goes up and down but stays in place? If you think you know the answer to this, I think we should have a lot of answers on this one because I'm thinking of 2 examples. Submit your answer to the bomb box. Tune in after spring break to see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.